Right, I think everything should be on right now. Yeah, everything looks on and correct. So, right, here we go. Hi everybody, this is CVGS. I'm the Captain here, and welcome to our Wednesday's discussion stream here on CVGS. Yeah, so we actually got some good news from the Tuesday's live stream, and we're definitely going to be talking about it. Hi Rain, good to see you. Good to see you with your grade 2 there. How's it going? Hello. Hi Drake, good to see you as well. So seeing your chat right there. So right, right. So it's been a kind of a heavy day really for me today. I hope everybody has had a good day. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Yeah, so it's just been kind of heavy for me at the moment right now because of the fact that you know, I'm just thinking about how like one of the successes that we had on CVGS here has actually been this discussion stream. So yeah, yes, you are grade 2 right now. So thank you so much for your support, Rin. So by the way, if you guys want to reach like grade 2 or you guys want to support us directly, so we do have a membership. So if you guys want to support us directly, there'll be one way to do so. So you can actually join the membership, like Rin has. Thank you so much, Rin, and a few others as well. So thank you everybody that has supported us through there. So I was going a little bit deeper. So because you know, like I said, one of our more recent successes has been this discussion stream because we've always been on every week and we've always had the chance to really just talk and just really talk about Vanguard, all things through and through. So once again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you because the discussion streams wouldn't really be successful without you guys, and it is a discussion stream. Basically, it's just me, Leon, and Dempster when they're available, like just coming on and we're just talking about cards really. So and yeah, so I'm just glad that we're able to turn our discussions into this format and just be successful. Just have it be as successful as I like it to be. So I'm glad to see so many people just being on, even at the start also, just waiting for us to get things started going on from there. So hi Mate, looks like Bushiroad knew that Go Paladin is my birthday. Yes, we will talk about Go Paladin in just a short bit. So for those of you that were waiting, I hope you guys have seen the trailer that I put on the stream right now, because as I have discovered this week, apparently when I schedule a stream, right, I can actually I've been able to set a trailer. But the thing is, you can't set a trailer for, you can only set a trailer for premieres, and YouTube actually has made a change whereby we can now set them for live streams. So you guys can actually see the quick cap as you guys are waiting for the live stream to start. Hopefully you guys have caught up with the quick cap so you guys can see what we learned from the Tuesday's live stream. So let's get straight into it. So right, so Juon Chanter, Juon Chanter skill is oh, sorry, I'm a bit lost for words, so excuse me, I apologize. So, Stealth Dragon Juon Chanter for Morokumo. So, the skill is at the start of your right phase while this unit is on the Vanguard circle. By paying color +1, choose one of your units, search your deck for up to one card with the same name as that chosen unit, and call it to a Regard circle and shuffle your deck. So this is actually a really good way, right, to actually get a unit out first. And after that, you can probably ride over to your grade 3 into something that can be used to actually call specific things as well. I think this is actually a really good card. This is actually the tournament promos that you guys will get if you take part in tournaments from there. So yeah. Yeah, so not a Stealth Fiend, right? Yeah, it's not a Stealth Fiend, so but it's still kind of helpful for you to actually be able to churn out extra copies of the Stealth Fiend that you might need. So yeah. It's quite helpful. I see it. Of course, the other skill is that its skill is act once per turn by putting a normal unit from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck. Then you can choose one of your units, and at the end of the turn, change this unit's names to be the name of the chosen unit, and this unit gets boost. So this unit will be able to get boost, and also will be able to take a name as well. So it can change its name into Stealth Fiend. So it can change its name into a Stealth Fiend in a way. So I think there's uses for this card. I can definitely see some use for this card in, like, say, Yasue. My old Yasue, as in like the Strike Yasue. So in terms of that, I think I see a lot of good stuff with Juon Chanter here. So especially with the second skill. So I kind of like it also. Okay, never mind. It's a Stealth Fiend. Good, I managed to change your thinking, Mate. So Cap, I caved in and bought. What? You bought Valderosa LSR? Wow, Rin. Wow. Does that mean we're not gonna get your support anymore? Oh. Anyways, we move on to the the other promo that's also in the set, which is Brandish Francis. So auto on the Rearguard Circle, when this unit attacks by discarding 2 cards from the top of your deck, so milling the top 2 cards of your deck, this unit gets plus 5k power until the end of the battle. So so this is basically Ruin Shade or Greed Shade in a way. So you can actually mill the top 2 cards in order to get additional power from there. It's pretty helpful, it's pretty handy. And its other skill is when this unit is retired from the Rearguard Circle by your card effect, by Soul Blasting 1 and binding this unit. So then after that, choose a Brandish Francis for your drop zone, call it the Rearguard Circle. So in a way, right, this card will kind of go well with Night Rose. So CVGS got all the case. No, not what I mean. I mean supporting us is in like, oh, you spend quite a bunch of money on Felty Rosa, which means that you probably have less money to support here still. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing with you on that. So cool, now grabs gun, dump it. Right, so this is actually pretty good, and of course you can. This card is actually quite helpful in Night Rose. Immediately Night Rose comes straight to mind because of the fact that Night Rose will retire this unit, and then you can Soul Blast 1 and then bind this unit, and after that you can choose a Francis that's already in your drop zone if it's been milled down, and then you can actually call it. So you can actually have another 4th attack or even more after the fact as well. Combine that with Night Rose's own abilities as well. So yeah. Pretty good stuff that they can get in September actually, so probably some stuff you want to look forward to, whether if you're playing in English or whether if you're playing in Japanese. Of course, English, these promos will be coming out later, but hopefully they'll come sooner rather than later, basically speaking. So I expect catch support. Thank you. So who's Francis again? Francis is if you mean my joke, right? In the movie Deadpool, he's looking for a guy named Francis who is the bad guy Ajax, and he just keeps asking all his henchmen, where's Francis? When in actual fact, right, they only know Francis as Ajax. So yeah, that's why that's the Deadpool joke right there. So that's the Deadpool reference there. So right, so then we move on to the standard promo that we get in for there. So Drag Rated Antle. So when this unit boosts a Rearguard Circle, if your opponent has no rear guards in the same column as this unit gets plus 5k to the end of that battle. So in other words, Eugene. Essentially Eugene will be the one that can make the most use of this card, obviously. So you can actually kind of use him in Draconic Overlord, but definitely not in Virina actually. Oh sorry, definitely not in Nirvana actually, because Nirvana doesn't really focus on destruction all too much. It focuses more on power. So something like this, while it is power, but it requires destruction first before the power comes in. So Eugene kind of fits the whole thing for you. So, and I bought Felty Rosa grade 0 to grade 3 line from the same person. Okay, good to know. So. And of course, as we found out, so this is basically fan service to arguably the 2 most prominent content creators in the entire Vanguard community. So Dai Kaiser and Chorus Command are actually getting force markers, and they actually are getting congratulations force markers, and these are available as a nice fight and random prizes as well. So yeah, in the special fight event. So we'll see. This should be coming in English, and yeah, I can bet my bottom dollar that Chris and Eric, Mr. Time Leap and Different Fight are actually going to get these 2. So hi Isaiah, good to see you. Right, then we move on to the card reviews, and here's where we really kick off the discussion from here, because we're gonna talk about the boost for Seraph Snow and for Magnolia. I want to say Magnolia first, but then I keep seeing Seraph Snow stuff, so that's where the starter comes in. So we go through the cards first. So Aurora Battle Princess, Survey Vermilion. Once per turn on the Rearguard Circle, when your opponent's card is placed from the Rearguard Circle to your order zone, you soul charge 1. So this one, this basically you get to soul charge 1, right, as long as your opponent calls a card from prison, and it's once per turn, so you only get 1 soul charge, so which is kind of good because you don't want to overcharge your soul, especially when your opponent is going to use it offensively use it in an offensive way, so to get you to drain out all of your top deck from there. So this is quite nice. It's a rare, it's quite nice, but the real kicker here is actually the double R, and it's Aurora Battle Princess Execute Lemonan. So her skill is that when this unit attacks, by paying Color Blast 1 and Soul Blast 3, so that's a very heavy Soul Blast cost, choose up to 3 of your opponent's rear guards and imprison them in your prison. Then if you have 3 or more of your opponent's cards imprisoned in your prison, after the end of the battle, this unit gets plus 10k power, and if it's 5 or more, it gets plus 1 critical. So this is actually a very good accompanying grade 3 rear guard. that can that you can actually put in with Seraph Snow, and then as long as you got 5 or more cards, in which case she actually can fulfill that. So you only need to supply the 2. She attacks. If your opponent still got another 3 more rear guards that they can choose to imprison them, and then it gets 5. And then not to mention some of the other cards that's coming out in the promos where it allows you to imprison from deck. There's the 6 Nations PR pack that actually has that card in there. So combine all those, right? Seraph Snow is actually going to be much more dangerous, and combine that with Perio, Turquoise, and some of the other cards in there that actually allows you to de-incentivize your opponent from actually calling cards out of prison, in order to have them on the field. So yeah, that's one of the things that's one of the things that this card can actually pretty much achieve combined with the stuff in set 2. So we move on to Magnolia, and this is where I bring up the concerns that was brought up yesterday. That I kind of brought up yesterday in the live stream on Twitch. So be sure to follow us on Twitch if you guys want to hear all those as it happens. So tier 0, yeah, in a way tier 0. So but we'll talk about that more in great detail. So we go to Stoicheia. So in search of an ideal far away, this is actually an order card for Magnolia, and choose one of your units, and it gets and until the end of the turn it gets the skill auto on the Vanguard Regard Circle. When your other unit attacks, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. Meaning that if you manage to persona right and you get 3 units attacking, you can literally attach this. You can really attach this plus 5k right to 1 unit or to Gunosla, and then have every other unit attack except for the last one that has the skill. So then that unit, Gunosla, can get plus 20k, and then can pass that 20k plus its own other power from everything else onto another unit. And or you can also have that one unit have plus 25k and then attack, and then you have a very high power card from there. So this is actually a very good card for Magnolia, especially for Magnolia. Zorga can kind of use this card, but I think they might not have enough space to work this out. But I can imagine somebody like Brendan that actually might consider looking to use this card in Zorga, because it's an order card and it's a free cost. It doesn't cost anything to use it. That's the key thing about it. So any orders that are free cost, right, might actually be something that Zorga could consider binding after the fact, and then it can make use of the skill. So you can have Zorga have plus power, and then you can have it attack last. You can have a particular unit actually have plus power, then have everything else attack first before that unit attacks. So it makes Zorga a little bit more predictable in that sense, but I can actually see this actually being useful in Zorga in a way. So looks like GER, the only GER I know is German. So hi Kazu. But yeah, so this is actually pretty one of the good ones also. And of course we move on to the unit that's going there, the double R in this set, which is Silverhorn Beast Garbarek. So this one was a little difficult to translate on the day itself, but I managed to find the translations. Thank you to the English Vanguard Twitter for that. So alter the Regard Circle. When your other unit in the same column as this unit attacks by paying Soul +1, this unit gets plus, and this unit gets plus 10k at the turn. Now take note, let's say we assume that this card is in the back row. We assume this card is in the back row, basically, right? And it can attack from the back row. Let's have that assumption. So when your other unit attacks in the same column, so another unit attacks in the same column as this unit, so whatever's in front, then you pay the cost, and then he himself get plus 10k, and after that you choose all of your opponent's rear guards, and during the battle that this particular unit attacks this turn, your opponent cannot call cards from hand to Guardian Circle with the same grade as the chosen unit, meaning that now Magnolia has Guard Restrict. So imagine this. Imagishiro. You have this unit, you have this attached to this, and you persona right already. So you persona wrote already. Technically speaking, you persona wrote this turn. This unit's in the front row. So you will not choose it for Magnolia, because it can attack on its own. So it's already 20k thanks to the persona right. Then it gets plus 10k when the unit behind it attacks. So it's 30k. Combined with this, and you attack with everything else first before him, plus 25k. That's already 65k for Garbarek. And he has Guard Restrict as well, meaning that if you have a grade 1 on the field and a grade 0 on the field, if your opponent has those two on the field when it was chosen, they cannot guard with triggers, they cannot guard with the over trigger, they cannot guard with PGs. And that is like 65k coming straight after them. And that's not including any other outside factors at all. That's just the guaranteed skills that they're gonna proc off. That's 65k That's a huge number. Even in the back row also, like if it's chosen, it will get plus. It will be 60k as well with the guard restrict. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power, and this card is actually really, 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 really good. And definitely like one of the must pickups for Magnolia, because one thing that Magnolia kind of lacks, right, is that it's really that threat, or rather that one skill, right, that makes all these powerful attacks, right, pretty unstoppable. And this is one of the ways to do it, which means your opponent has to be very careful about what he leaves on the field in order to be able to guard off this unit's attack as well, because maximum capability is at 65k for Garbarek, and with guard restrict. So if you cannot PG, if you cannot guard with your over trigger, you are kind of butt hurt in the water. So hi Andrew, yes, we are actually talking about the card reviews here. So just going through all the card reviews that we got from yesterday. So yeah, bring him and Gunosla. So yeah, I mean you can send Gunosla's power straight to him. You can kind of send Gunosla's power straight to Garbarek, and then it can get more power than that. But just think about just on its own without Gunosla. So everything else after the fact, right, it's kind of like, yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah. Cap, don't we have a grade 2 triple for set 2 that gives a back row able to attack? Yes, that's Dynamaru. Dynamaru actually allows you to allow a unit to attack, but Dynamaru actually is more of a fail-safe rather than what you call it? It's rather a fail-safe rather than like something that can allow you to do that. Because take note, Dynamaru, right, was kind of designed, right, because, right, the odds of you actually finding your Magnolias, even with as much draw trigger as possible, the odds of you actually finding Magnolia in order to Persona right, it's actually quite low. And you already have and you know, you can only target one, but ideally you want to have 3 targets just so they can get a lot of power on a lot of attacks going off. So that's his greatest strength, but it's also his biggest weakness because of the fact that right, if you can't find Magnolia to Persona right, you can only choose the one unit, and then your damage potential kind of cuts in half in a lot of ways. So Dynamaru is actually kind of designed, right, for those particular turns. You wouldn't be using Dynamaru's skill, you wouldn't call down Dynamaru, right, on your field unless you have to, or you don't Persona right, because the Persona right allows you to be able to get all of the allow you to get all the units attacking from the back row. Dynamaru just allows you to have 2 units going up, so that's a huge power. That's quite a big of a power game, not as much as the Persona right, but good enough to supplement for that turn. So yeah, as Isaiah Shadow mentioned, I think of it as a pseudo backup. So exactly. So yeah, exactly. If Magnolia has a way to force your opponent to call certain cards down to your hand, right, Garbarek will become a very consistent turn ender. So it can be a consistent game ender actually. Much luck. Because of the fact that with the way Garbarek works, right, and with the way that you want to adjust everything else, right, you want to have a significant number of high power attacks that forces your opponent to actually drop the PG, drop their most valuable cards. So they had to plan everything. So the opponent actually has to plan everything against this unit. It comes out to opponent's capabilities, right, to defend, and what he does on the turns before in order to allow him to defend at that point in time. Because otherwise, right, Garbarek can actually end the fight pretty early. He actually can end the fight pretty early. So we can make the tiger attack twice as well. Is there a way to make the tiger attack twice? I think there was a way, yeah. I mean, you can make this unit attack twice, and then, you know, the guard restrict, and during the battle this unit attack this turn. It's not once per turn. So basically, right, as long as he's attacking, right, within this turn, your opponent cannot call those particular units of the grade that it chose earlier when they activate the skill the first time around. So yeah, the issue I see in the future is decks that don't rely on reguards to function as well. Correct. In fact, this one has the fallacy of not being able to fight against certain decks that either has a singular guard that isn't significant, like Bastion, or a guard or a deck, right, that actually has an empty field, like say Barrow Magnus actually. Barrow Magnus will be a good shot, because Barrow Magnus, right, now in set 2, right, there's actually the common grade 3 that when this unit is called from the soul, then this unit gets plus 5k. And it's actually a good replacement, right? Or rather like extra stuff they can combine with Deep Sonica. Because originally in DBT 01, when you play Barrow Magnus, right, you would call out Deep Sonica because that's the highest power that you can get, so 18k that you can attack. The actual grade 3, right, is 30k base, but then it's plus 5k when it's called from soul, so that's 18k. That 18k that it has, so it's about the same power. So Barrow Magnus, right, can literally empty his field, and if he calls on Gabriel at that turn, right, and then if you actually only called if you didn't call the grade 1s and you called the grade 3s out there, right, Gabriel wouldn't actually be very significant against it. So yeah, I mean, it's not a future issue, it's a current issue, and that's where a smart player, right, will know how to bypass Gabriel. So yeah, Barrow Magnus, yes. So yeah, so essentially, right, there's already ways around it already. It just comes down to what the player is playing and how smart he is fighting against it. So Gabriel can potentially end the game, but only if a player is unable to or is too careless about fighting against Magnolia. So yeah, that's actually why this particular card, right, is actually considered to be quite good. So I can see a lot of great uses out of it. So, but we get into discussion right now, and that kind of gives me pause about how boosting is right now. And I brought this up in on our Twitch channel. What the? Why is that drilling at this hour? What the? I apologize. All of a sudden there's drilling in there. Like what? What? For context, right? I live. For those of you that don't know, here in Singapore, most people live in HDBs, which is basically apartment buildings, basically. And our lift here, the lift that allows us to get the first floor to exit, actually is under renovation. They're upgrading the lifts to newer ones or so. Normally the works, right, would only go on from like morning at around 10 o'clock and go all the way until like 6 or so. And they've done most of the hacking and the drilling anyway. So the fact that we are here at this time and there's drilling, that is just stupidly insane. So great Lager intensifies also. Yes, Kaya will know that. So right, back to what I was thinking. So you go call cards that to regard circle is not the same grade as the card. So yeah, exactly. You have to be careful when you know that you're gonna go up against Gabriel, because the Gabriel, you know that's in the set, right? You have to play carefully already. So because this card might actually mess up your day. So you gotta be careful also. I saw the goals, it's alright, expecting terror, but it's alright. So we'll talk about goals in just very soon. But now we talk about the thing that I brought up on the Twitch channel yesterday, and that is the very fact that these cards, excuse me, these cards are double Rs. Meaning, they're not gonna get the triple R slot. And you look at the skill and you think, well, that's perfectly okay. But when we talk about the future stuff, like what Much Like actually pointed out, if we look at the future, right, it makes me a bit worried, because here's the kicker right here. For these cards, right, to actually get double R slot, right, meaning that, right, the gameplay for these two decks, right, are gonna be roughly the same, right? DBT02 and past DBT03 just before DBT04. And if you guys don't know what I mean, right, let me explain it in as much detail as I possibly can. We look at Seraph Snow, right? We look at Seraph Snow here, and the fact that we have execute Lemonan here, and it sends more cards into the prison, and it gets plus 10k plus 1 critical, meaning that this is a 2 critical attack that's actually coming to you. But your combination, right, is still reliant on Perio Turquoise. And while you will continue to see Perio Turquoise, you can argue that yes, you will continue to see Perio Turquoise no matter what also. But there's no other alternative to Perio Turquoise. If you look between DBT01 and DBT02, right, you have the choice between Agra Rouge, or you have the choice between Perio Turquoise, because those are the triple R's that's in that set. And Agra Rouge, right, is actually kind of like it's there for if your opponent empties your prison, and you know that your opponent's going to empty their prison from there because of Agra Rouge. And you will play Agra Rouge rather in order to be able to go through that. Or you or if you don't play DBT1 style, you play DBT2 style, which is Perio Turquoise. And Perio Turquoise, right, de-incentivizes your opponent from actually calling cards from the prison and call it the Regard Circle because it's going to get minus power from there. And especially if you call 2 Parry turquoise, so that means that unit, no matter what it is, right, it's going to be 0. Unless it's a grade 3, but even then 3k is also a bit difficult to hit with. So take note of this, what I mentioned, right? Because this set doesn't have DPT-02, right? Meaning that you're going to be seeing Parry turquoise, because I think compared to Agra Rouge and Parry turquoise, I think Parry turquoise might actually be the better triple R from the two. Situational, of course, also. But it's the better of the two, meaning that Seraph Snow players, right, you'll be continually seeing Parry turquoise, right, as one of the main core cards in the deck. So it's one of the main key cards, also. And of course, so you can still see Agra Rouge in there, of course, so given the situation. But the fact is, right, because there's no triple R in this set, right, Seraph Snow becomes a little predictable. And that goes the same for Magnolia as well, because Dynamaru was the last one, and Dynamaru was one of the cards, right, that is essential, but there isn't a triple R in this set, right, that's coming into it. So take that example, right, and think about what we might see in DBT-04. Because if you're getting cards, right, that are actually going to be left behind in DBT-04 because there's no triple R slots for them at all, then those decks are probably going to stagnate. Their chances are they're actually going to stagnate. So, and that what worries me a little bit. So, and that was one of the concerns that I kind of brought up, because the fact that there's no triple R's in this set for Seraph Snow and for Magnolia, right? And we can kind of assume that DBT-04 they should get something, because it wouldn't make sense if they didn't. But what if we look at certain decks, right, that might have little chance to get something significant? And immediately comes to mind Eugene. Eugene comes to mind, because in DBT-04, right, there is no way that they're actually gonna give a triple R, right, to Eugene, because, right, the triple R slots, right, are definitely gonna be taken up by Virina in some aspect, and the other one is gonna go to the Blaze Seal Maidens, because the trial deck just came out before this set came out. So it makes me wonder, it makes me worry a little bit as to how boosting is going to be. And I kind of brought this up, and I think I had a talk with somebody about it, about how there needs to continuously be new right lines. Honestly speaking, right, I believe DBT-04, right, should be a support set instead of trying to introduce new right lines. Because if they introduce new right lines, right, whether if it's one or what, they have one already being introduced already. If they introduce another one, right, that means something else might not get a significant boost. And that's a little worrying. So, and chances are it's definitely Catan Sanctuary. So it makes me worry about Hexor Orb Sorceress. It makes me worry about whether if they're actually going to get something significant in DBT-04. Because chances are the triple R slots, right, are going to be given to Bastion and not to Hexor Orb Sorceress. Bastion is going to get something for sure, because it's the trial deck. It's the trial deck card that's in there. So that's where my concerns come in, and do share your ideas on what I propose here. So, but essentially, right, my worry about the boosting, right, comes down to this: if DBT-04, right, it introduces more right lines, that means, right, we're going to see some decks actually get left behind, and people might actually start to feel a bit of fatigue about all the collaborations, all of the new right decks that's in there already. Come DBT-04, we got 15 right decks already. And 15 is nice, it's a good number, but it should remain at 15, and I don't think they should go even further. Because that means, right, boosting is just gonna get a little bit more convoluted, and certain things are gonna get left behind, and they're gonna stagnate for 6 months. And I don't think anybody wants that too much, especially in what is supposed to be the standard format. V standard actually being moved to premium right now, right? I think it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay for it to everything to have something within like within 6 months. Since the last boost from there. But standard, you can't honestly do that. So because 3 months, right, if something doesn't get a significant boost, right, that means that deck might stagnate, and it actually might not be competitive compared to some of the others from them. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. So they should do a new set of right lines also when the new season comes out, which will make the pacing better. So technically speaking, right, that's actually the 3 right lines that we're getting in here. I don't feel that 4 should have any. In fact, right, I do agree they should have new right lines, but I think they should have new right lines, right, when they go into 2022. So the boost in there, right, March 2022 onwards, right, we can take it as like a whole new year, which means that they actually can readjust the power creep from the first year of Overdress. So we go into second year of Overdress, and second year of Overdress, right, will have like the new versions of the current cards that we know. They can introduce new right lines from there. So which means that they can leave DBT-01 year 1 as year 1, and then year 2 they'll be focusing on right lines in year 2. so on and so forth from there. So that's kind of like, I feel like how they will make the pacing a bit better, and it makes it so that everything feels like it's on even footing. That's kind of how I feel about it. That's kind of how I feel, and that's my biggest worry, that they kind of forgot about it, and then going into the final boost, right, then there's not gonna be anything from there. So yeah, Keter seems fine for set 3. No new right line was introduced for them also. No new ones in the Overdress, but technically speaking, right, you can consider Phantom Blaster Dragon, you can also consider Draconic Overlord to be new right lines for Keter Sanctuary and for Dragon Empire respectively. So you can consider them as that. And I can expect DPTO3 right, will actually have some cards in there, like some cards in there, right, that will kind of touch up the decks a bit more on DPTO2 also. It won't be the prime focus, but I think it will touch up just to make them a little bit better, and so that it can kind of like keep up to date as well. 1 or 2 cards also, not too many. So not too many like say a new grade 3 or a new triple R or double R and such also. But I agree that they should focus on upgrading the right lines rather than trying to make over 100 lines. Exactly. Yes, much love. That's what I kind of hope that boosting will be. So I'm not sure if this is a feedback that I can actually express to Mori-san. I would love that if Mori-san could actually like hear this, and I don't necessarily want him to address my concerns, but I would love to know like what are his thoughts about what I propose here. And he knows the answers, so he can neither confirm nor deny anything at all. But it'd be nice to know if we could get like his thoughts on the matter. So it'd be pretty nice also. Magnolia Tier 1. You can expect this to be Tier 1, but this one punishes this card actually punishes the what you call it? It punishes the Careless. This card is actually something, right, that can punish the Careless very, very easily. So actually you can see Magnolia actually going up. So, and I think that should be the way, because I think that when it comes to boosting, right, decks should actually be competitive enough that almost anything can be considered Tier 1. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 0. Like almost a lot of things are on those aspects really. So, or rather specifically, I think Tier 1, Tier 2 also. I think Tier 0 shouldn't be a thing in Overdress. But regardless, right, that's just what I see here. And so, which means that, right, and it makes sense here because for Stoicheia and for Brangate, right, they do have 2 new right lines. I keep forgetting the first of the names. So, but Neltlinger, the card for Brangate will definitely getting a triple R set in there. Most likely will be her. And then also Flightbird Dragon for Stoicheia will actually be the triple R in that set. So it makes sense that Magnolia and Seraph Snow might not get them. In fact, we can see Zorga actually getting a new triple R, and we can also see Office getting a new triple R also, because I think those 2 decks, right, could use something new. Could definitely use something new. So, and it'll be nice also. And if they don't get anything in the next set afterwards, which means that a triple R is set for Neltringer, Flightbird Dragon, Magnolia, Seraph Snow, right? I think that would kind of make sense in a way also. But they gotta not introduce new right lines. Honestly, they shouldn't introduce new right lines because I think it'll get too convoluted too quickly. So. Right, so that's the news basically from there, but we didn't get those news specifically in our recap video, of course, rather in the quick cap, I should say the quick cap now. We didn't cover the V Premium ones also because I kind of want to save them for really like a sit-down full discussion from there. So this is yesterday's one, which is for Narukami, but I think we should go with today's reviews, which is actually for Go Paladin, since this is the newer release from here. So no triple R for starter set. Give it for Eugene. Yeah, you're still riding on that one. Also. I mean, when you talk about Eugene, you can't help but make that joke. So once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head. So. Right, so we talk about Go Paladin right now. So Fast Chase Liberator Josephus. When this unit is rolled upon, you may look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a unit card, you may call it to a Regard Circle. And then after that, when this unit is placed on the Regard Circle from deck, you can Soul Blast 1 to countercharge 1, then Soul Blast 1 to draw a card. Meaning that you gotta play something with quite a bit of soul charging in order for you to be able to use Josephus a bit more easily. Because Soul Blast 1, countercharge 1 is quite nice, but at the same time also like Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 1 and draw a card, I think is a bit quite expensive. You have the choice not to do the second half. But I think that with this card, right, being in V Premium, it's okay. But in Premium, I think some people might still prefer the original Josephus. I think the original Josephus, right, might actually carry them a bit more mileage. Then we move on to the other Liberator of Royalty, Falon. And this one is a huge kicker for me. So, continuous on the rearguard circle. During your turn, if your rearguard was placed from your deck this turn, this unit gets plus 5k. Then auto on the Vanguard rearguard circle. This unit, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a unit card, you may call it the rearguard circle. I see this card, and you know what I think? I think of the Legion Prominence Glare. Because the Legion Prominence Glare deck, back in the day, if you guys aren't aware, the Legion Prominence Glare deck, right, along with many of the other cards that's available for Liberators and Bluish Flame Liberators in that regard, right, actually allows you, right, to actually do a lot of superior calling from your deck. So this card, right, you put it down, you have it on the field, right, and then you do your superior calling over and over and over and over and over again for that you can do with Prominence Glare or with the whole deck in general. And this card can actually get very high. This card can actually get very, very high. Very, very high. Follow says you may call. Yeah, you may choose to call. So if you can look at the top card of that. It's the same as Joseph first. When the attack hits, right, you look at the top of the card, and if it's a U card, you may choose to call it. If you don't want to call it, you don't have to. But you can choose to call it. So yeah, but the fact is, right, this one, right, has huge implications, right, for premium actually. Because of that plus 5k and having access to certain cards like Catchguard Liberator, having access to cards like Magnus, the Argovals, both Argovals basically, and so on and so forth from there. And I haven't even touched upon like any cards that you could tap in from premium as well. A lot of you can actually get a lot of power here actually, just from Falon being this card in premium, essentially. So God Paladin reveals for me have some really good potential, especially with the grade 1 and 2 also. I feel they feel like wacky aggravating supports, so we'll go into that a bit more. So but yeah, so Prominence Core, Bluish Flame Liberator Prominence Core, his skill is once per turn, by paying counterblast 1, retire one of your regards, so get the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 cards from among them and call it to separate regard circles and put the rest of the bottom deck in any order. If you have Bluish Flame Liberator Percival in your soul, you may choose up to 4 instead. So you can actually call out 4 instead of 2 so you can actually call everything, and that essentially does power up Falon in many ways also, especially if you decide to choose to go with the calls. So this card is actually really, really good right off the bat also. And if you have Percival from the last boost that it came out in, right, you get more benefits out of it also. You get a lot more benefits out of Prominence Core that way. Now of course we go into auto on the Vanguard circle. When your rearguard is placed until the end of the turn, this unit and that unit gets plus 3k until the end of the turn. Gets plus 3k, and if that unit is Oath Liberator Argoval and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit's original critical becomes 2. Now, I see some people kind of like Vortimer skill. Actually, Vortimer was actually right. Back in the day, right, when Gold Paladin was introduced, right, it was described, right, as a Paladin clan that had both Royal Paladin and Shadow Paladin units come together. Since those two clans, the leaders went missing basically. So Blasterblade, Blasterdark, Dragon Overlord as well, all went missing. So they came together to form Gold Paladin, and we did get Azel and we get other stuff, right. But Vortimer, right, and essentially Prominence Core, right, were 2 cards, right, that we kind of deemed, right, to be more Shadow Paladin like cards than they are Royal Paladin cards also. And most people kind of confuse Royal Paladin and Gold Paladin, but they tend to forget that there are some units, right, that actually are in Shadow Paladin, in Gold Paladin that actually came from Shadow Paladin, and there should be some aces that came from Shadow Paladin. So Vortimer was one of them, was the very first one, and Prominence Core is also in the same vein as well. So yeah, that's why I look at this and go, Vortimer support. No, this isn't essentially Vortimer support all too much. So in fact, this is its own thing. This is kind of like its own thing, really. It's self-contained and within Liberators as well. So but anyways, auto when you guys place, right, this is 3k. Now I see a lot of people actually talk about why it's plus 3k. It's not, the unit's actually not gonna get so much power, especially since we're seeing so many things get plus 5k, plus 10k, and you know, all sorts of other things. But keep in mind, premium. Remember what I said about Falon getting high-end power? Well, imagine if this was also plus 5k as well. And of course, that means that this unit, that means this Prominence Core, right, is actually going to get plus 5k for every time it calls us. So which means that this power, right, and this power are going to be synergized together. And I don't think that's really kind of fair. So that's why, especially when you put this card into premium, because this card in premium, if it's plus 5k, right, Oh boy, Achamama, you're gonna get a lot of power on him, right, as just the Vanguard itself. So, does it work with the Grade 1 and Grade 2 Vortimer? I actually haven't seen Vortimer in Premium, so let's take a quick look at it. So Vortimer, oh, I missed Vortimer Diablo. Hang on, give me a second. Let's go into the V series from there. So the Grade 1 Vortimer skill is that when it's placed, look at the top 7 cards, look for Spectral Dragon or Black Knight Vortimer. Among them, when retire from Vanguard circle by card ability, put this card into your soul and one of your Vanguards get plus 5 hit. You can use Prominence Core for it also. You can use Prominence Core for it in V series. But in Premium, right, you want to use it with the Bluish Flame Liberators. In a lot of ways also. In a lot of ways you want to use it with that also. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to say Vortimer, I meant Spectral Dragon also, since that's the ace from there. And of course, the Grade 2 is retired by a card's ability. By putting this card into the soul, you get the counter charge 1. So yeah, these two cards, right, actually are good accompaniment for Prominence Core, because those are good ideal cards that you can actually retire. But knowing what we know about Prominence Core, especially for those that have been around at the game in its premium days, they know that you don't really need to rely on Vortimer. Vortimer is a good help, but at the same time also, right, you want at the same time also, right, you can retire anything, right, and the point is, right, you get the +4. You get the 4 cards and you can call into separate Vanguard circles, and then all the other skills pop off. And the reason why I mentioned that this card, right, will be dangerous in premium, because if it's plus 5k, right, the Vanguard itself is going to get very high power, right, and the consistent amount of calls that you can get from a premium deck for Bluish Flame Liberators, right, especially back in the day, was significantly very, very, very high. So yeah, something like this, right, is just to keep the power down a little bit, or keep the power manageable in premium. It's already well enough as it is, so you know they want to exercise some restraint and just not keep premium like stay out of control, rather. So they're trying to rein it in also. Isn't Fallon continuous? So yes, Fallon is actually continuous. So during your turn, if your Regard was placed, this turn is really gets plus 5k. Ah, I see where I read it wrong. Okay, so Fallon is not the danger here, so because it only gets plus 5k, just the one-time 5k. Thank you very much, Erman, for that. So, thank you so much for that, because I thought it was an auto skill, but it's actually a continuous skill. The auto skill is actually from Prominence Core, so this is the one that will get a huge ton of power, and my argument still stands. So although it doesn't apply to this anymore, but my argument still stands. When you can call 4, right, that means this unit plus 12k. That means this unit gets plus 12k, meaning that this one becomes 25k. Sorry, this one becomes 24k on its own. And then add on another one, right, it becomes 27. Add on another one more from another source, it becomes 27. And then if that unit happens to be Argoval, right, you can actually get this unit plus critical as well. So that's supremely dangerous. So that's why I kind of like that's kind of like why I want to bring up the fact that people might be grumbling that it's not 5k, but honestly it's to keep certain things in check. So certain things that it's not within the format that they play, so you could say so. Yep, doesn't say by effect also. Yeah. Oh, Argoval is gonna be relevant again also. One superior call from Argoval means that your Prominence Call get plus 6k and Fallon will get plus 10k altogether. So yeah, pretty much also. Call just states when placed and not by an effect also. Yeah, when your Regard is placed. So when your Regard is placed, so basically, right, because it's an auto skill, so when 4 Regards are placed at the same time, right, this skill is gonna go up. This skill is gonna come up 4 times. So as long as the card enters the field, right, instant 3k to this unit and Prominence Core. Correct. So the power will stack because a whole bunch of it will. Yeah, actually, Hoa will actually be one of those cards that you actually will be looking to play as well. So. But essentially, yes. So this is actually pretty okay. And thank you, Irma, for pointing out that it's a continuous skill rather than an auto skill. But otherwise, right. This particular Prominence Core, right, could have been worse. It honestly could have been worse. In my opinion, right, it could have been worse. Thankfully, it's not. And the only reason why I say that it could be worse is because of the shenanigans that I know I've seen and most popularly seen by a lot of people in Premium. Because this is a card, right, that they definitely want to replace Prominence Core with in their Premium Bluish Flame Liberator decks. And combine that with what they can do with Prominence Core as well. And even if they don't have Prominence Core in there, so if it's just this and Argoval, plus all of the superior calling capabilities that Liberators are known to have with Bruno and everything else on that matter. Yeah, this one actually, it gets very scary. So all the attack needs is at least 10k shield to guard. So yeah, pretty much. So even more than that, even so. And the fact that Algava is also being reprinted in this set as well, so that means that you are guaranteed to be able to proc off that. Any player that just started playing, right, picks up from the VK collection, would definitely be able to proc off that +1 critical. So it's a really, really important thing. So yeah, so that is actually the reviews for today from Core. But of course, I do want to take a look at some of the other things. So this is actually two cards I released for Captain Century as cards of the days. This is an order card. Color +1, soul +1, reveal a critical or front trigger from your hand to play. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you draw a card. Then put the card you revealed for this cost to the top of your deck. Essentially similar to what Dynamaru did for what Dynamaru actually did for who? For Magnolia. This card does the same for Hexor Sorceress. And it's a rare as well, actually. It's a rare as well, so actually this card is actually pretty good. If you have Hexor Sorceress, right, something like this will actually be really helpful, because then you'll be able to get you actually will be able to get a critical on top also. So if somehow you're searching, or you have run out of ways to search, right, this order card, right, will actually be the one that can actually save you in a way. So Hexor stacks. So yeah, you can actually and even if you do find on top, you can stack some more even on top as well. So you can make sure that your opponent, right, has to guard or he dies. So this card is actually pretty good for Hexor Sorceress. So I actually do want this card to be here right now, because I do like playing Hexor Sorceress. I've actually been trying to source for an English Hexor Sorceress deck, but here in Singapore, I think most people right are actually playing Japanese here. So chances are me finding Hexor Sorceress deck is actually in English rather. It's actually gonna be very difficult, which means I have to go to outside sources for it also. But yeah, regarding of that also. This is actually a really good also. And the fact that it's not limited to Hexor Sorceress, so you can actually use this in Bastion even if you are willing to do it. If you're willing to do it, right, you can actually put this on with Bastion as well. Of course, you don't have any ways to actually check the top card with Bastion. You kind of like have the feeling that you're gonna have a whole bunch of crit trees in there, but you still want to be careful with playing this card in Bastion. So, because of the fact that if you don't get your restand from Bastion's ability by checking grid 3, it can kind of like mess you up. So. It can kind of mess you up. So. Any Captain Century can stack trigger top row now. So yeah, pretty much also. And also like Phantom Buster Dragon, of course, also can also make use of this card. So I think Phantom Buster Dragon might have like outside of Hexor Sorceress, I think Phantom Buster Dragon will have better use for this card than say Bastion actually. So yeah, this is good. It actually is gonna be pretty funny with this card. So yeah, I guess it's hard to find in Singapore. So yeah, I know. So hey Cap, I also hope you're ready for payment tomorrow. So I'm not as excited as you are, admittedly, but I will see the reviews and we'll take a look and see what they do. So you might have to buy BT01 and BT2 playsets to build it. So exactly. I have to buy like boxes English for it as well. But essentially, no, I think what I'll do is I'll take I'll expand my search to overseas as well. So. Also payments tomorrow, so those like Christmas came earlier. So you guys are really excited about the bunnies, aren't you? Right, then we move on to yesterday's reviews for Narukami, and I do want to talk about this a little bit. So Narukami eradicated Demolition Dragon. At the end of the battle, this unit attack or boosted and the attack hits, draw a card. Choose up to one card in your opponent's drop zone and bind it. If you bound, put this card into your soul if it's on the regard circle. So actually, this is actually a really good card, right? That actually allows you to bind. That actually allows you to draw, and then after that you bind from your opponent's drop zone. So your opponent has got a guard at some point or another. So he's gonna have cards in the bind zone for you to actually send to the cards in the drop zone that you can send to the bind. So this card is actually pretty good all around through that. So Spark Ray Dragon continues the Vanguard Regard Circle. During your turn, this unit gets get plus 1k for each card in your opponent's bind zone. Knowing what I know about Vanquisher, and what I mean by Vanquisher, I mean Premium Vanquisher, this card is gonna get a lot of power, basically speaking. So, basically speaking, this card is gonna get a lot of power. So, but otherwise, yes, The other skill at the end of battle, this unit attack by paying column +1. Choose a column that this unit is in. Bind all front row rearguard circles that's in the column and move all back row rearguard circles in that column to the front row. So take note, it says bind all front row rearguard circles in that column. So which means that Spark Ray will bind himself. You bind your opponent's front row rearguard circles, and after that you pull forward the unit in the back row also. So in a way, this is actually a good way, right, to actually get rid of something pesky in the back row, and while also getting +1 bind to your side and also for his side. Meaning that this card can actually be helpful for V Premium Vanquisher, because it does require 3 cards in the bind, or it does require like cards in the bind, right, for it to be able to activate its own effects. So yeah. And then of course we have a Razor Vowing Saber Dragon. And essentially, a lot of people are saying, well, this card is actually a accompaniment to Gauntlet Buster Dragon. So let's go through the skill. Alter on the Vanguard Circle, when your opponent's normal unit is bound from other than from deck during your turn, your opponent searches their deck for up to 1 card with the same name as the bound card, bind it and shuffle their deck, choose one of your opponent's units, and it gets +5k until the end of the turn. If they did not bind, that unit gets +10k instead of +5k. And when this unit is rolled upon, call this unit to Rearguard Circle, choose a card from your opponent's drop zone for every 2 cards in your damage zone, and bind it. So as long as you ride while you're at limit break, you essentially will be able to get 2 cards bind from your opponent's drop zone. That's one. Secondly, this card, right, actually allows you to actually snipe certain units out of your opponent's deck. And the problem that I'm seeing here right now, right, is that while that's advantageous, right, your opponent can choose up to 1 to send to the bind. Meaning that if they want to keep that unit, they can choose not to, and then they just deal with the power, which honestly speaking, right, it's not much. And the thing about certain decks, right, is that you want the power. You want the bind to happen. For certain decks, you want the bind to happen. So you can't look at this and think, I can't do this with Vanguard. I can use this with Vanquisher, because I think if your opponent has the capability to choose not to bind, right, then there's a lot of problems going off right there. So, but yeah, so sorry, Bunny Beast's husband, though, I already pre-ordered Genesis V's. Right. Can't the grade 2 make an extra attack since it moves both players? It says move all back row. Yeah, he can actually get another attack as well, so because it moves all back row regard. So something you can have like another grade 2 in the back row behind this, and then after that, at the end of battle, that this unit attack, it's gonna happen. You can make it happen as long as you have counter +1, so that you can actually have another attack actually happening on your end. And not only that, but also take out something pesky for your opponent's front row as well. So a lot of pluses that the grade 2 can have with that, Mate. So yeah, Narakabe is interesting. It's good but not great. So grade 1 and grade 2 is good, but the grade 3 is awkward. So if you want to make a V eradicated deck, right, it is awkward, not a great pressure. So I'll point out something to you about that, Andrew. So I'll point out something to you about that when it comes to sub clans in V series, basically speaking. So but up to 1 of your opponent can choose 0. So but it's not once per turn. It's not once per turn. It is not once per turn. As long as there are cards going into the bind zone other than from the deck, right, this skill will proc off. This skill will proc off. And yes, if you manage to bind a whole bunch of things, right, you can get a lot of power stacked onto something or spread across the board. But at the same time, right, if you're relying on that bind, right, you can't rely on this card. If you're relying on that bind, right, you can't really rely on this card, because your opponent can just, oh, I don't call anything. I just don't bind anything, basically. Because I need those specific units. Plus 10k, plus 20k, plus 20k, I got PG. Descendant is the thing. Yeah, a lot of people are also saying Descendant with this card, but roughly speaking, right, I think that with Descendant, actually let me take a look at Descendant again, so because it's been a while since I've seen Descendant. What? Why is there a trigger version of oh, right, no, it's a sorry, it's a congratulations prize, basically, so sorry about that. Alright, so Descendant, when you write this card, right, when you would write this card, right, if your Vanguard is unit with eradicated card name, this unit is placed with all the abilities. Yes, so Descendant can go with this also, but the key thing about Descendant, right, is the what do we call it? Is the open front row regard circle. Moves it to open front row regard circle. Is the attack does not hit. So while the bindings are there, right, to deal with field control, and yes, it would be able to take up this, but it's not the focus of the bind. In fact, right, your opponent choosing not to bind, right, your opponent will choose to bind in the situation fighting against Descendant or against Gauntlet Buster. Because they don't want basically they don't want to have the power gain from there. They don't have the power gain to regard circle, and truth be told, this second skill, right, is a little negligent. They, unless they put in a situation where they have to PG, right, then this unit restand, so you can actually plus power. This all comes from prediction from there. So, but this card actually attacks more with Golem Buster Dragon, even more so than Descendant would. And we take a look at Golem Buster Dragon as well. So if you take a look at Golem Buster Dragon, let me just open up Dragonic Descendant. So during your turn, this unit gets plus 5k, 1 critical for each of your opponent's open front row regard circles also. Card plus 1, discard a card from your hand, bind all of your opponent's front row regards. You may move all of your opponent's front row regards to regard circle, column in regard circle. So the thing is, right, while Descendant can get this card, it can get the ability, Golem Buster actually would also be able to make use of it. So in the case the opponent doesn't play a lot of cards on the field, so you can take advantage of the plus 5k 1 critical for every front row regard circle in there. So can I see Golem Buster skill? Yeah, I can see. Yeah, Golem skill, we're looking at it right now. So, and of course you won't be able to take part of the additional binds from there, because that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this, right, is to actually get the empty front row regard circles from there. So with Vowing Sword Dragon, right, actually being the precursor, and then you can call it out, then you actually can buy more cards in the bind zone from there, right? Oh yeah, actually no, now I see it already. Yeah, now I see it already. So yeah, actually, Vowing Sword Dragon will actually work well with Descendant. Golem Buster can make use of it, but not in the far way. I got my argument mixed up. Basically what I said about Golem Buster Dragon is applied to Descendant, and what I said about Descendant actually applies to Golem Buster Dragon, so I apologize for that. So, but yeah, actually, Vowing Sword Dragon with Descendant actually would make the best sense in there. But of course, when this unit attack does not hit, right, will only be a thing, right, in end game. But ultimately, right, you actually right, will want to eliminate pesky units. You can eliminate pesky units with Descendant, more so than you would with Golem Buster Dragon also, because your opponent will want to bind cards from there. Your opponent will want to bind cards to avoid the increase in power, basically, just to avoid having to put down another card in order to guard off, an extra card to guard off also. So they will take the bind. But I look at this card here, right, and I'm thinking, right, like the card that really make use of bind, right, is actually Draconic Vanquisher. And let's bring up Draconic Vanquisher. So Draconic Vanquisher, sorry, we want the V series one, not the G series one. So Draconic Vanquisher, during your turn, a total of 3 more cards will bound this turn. So all of units in front row get plus 10k. You don't want that. You don't want this also. Even if you have a self binding with this, right, most players, right, would choose not to do it, especially with Vowing Sword Dragon in play. These are the cards that need to bind, and this ability, right, is actually more specific, right, or rather the more prominent skill is the binding capability. So you do get the 2 from bind as long as you're able to do it, but of course if your opponent does not have anything in drop zone some way somehow, that's not happening. So yeah, and of course getting the plus 3 is also going to be very difficult from there. So because choose any player's front row and bind it, and if your soul has a great 3, your opponent your opponent choose a card from your hand and bind it from there. Then of course full Bronto skill. This is the card that you want to target to actually bind, basically. So when bound from hand during your turn, if your Vanguard is Draconic Vanquisher, discard a card from your hand, right, this card as stand, and this unit gets plus -1 drive. During that turn's end phase, right, you cannot get imaginary gift. And at the end of that turn, right, write a great 3 from your soul as rest. This ability may only be used with a card ability of same name once per turn. So yeah, combine this with this, and yeah, you actually don't have a lot of space for that. So Vanquisher doesn't have the room. Yeah, exactly. You don't have the room for it also. But the thing is, right, it needs cards like this, right? It needs cards like this. It does have Spark Rain Dragon. That kind of helps. But it does need cards like this, right, in order to get the bind off. But even then also, the binding is also very difficult to get also. And as it's pointed out by Andrew also, making a V Eradicator deck is very awkward. It's very awkward and not that great pressure. So here's the thing that I come to realize and notice. Unless you are a Jigen Robo, unless you are a Jigen Robo, or a Liberator, or certain more prominent subclans, right? You can't really make a V premium subclan deck because it's very awkward for you to do so. And I bring that up because, well, y'all know that this is coming. Y'all know that this should be coming. Ultimate Riser MF. Time to whip out the happy juice right now because we're gonna need a lot of it. I'm definitely gonna need a lot of it. So. Certain prominent. Yep. Now here's the thing. When we talk about subclans, right? Definitely one of the ones that should take root. I'm not saying it does, but one that should take root will definitely be Risers also. And the fact is, right, with Ultimate Riser Mega Flare being the way that it is, right? Or rather, specifically, I think my problem is not with this, so it's actually with most of the other things here, so that the play set music. Right, actually no, it's most of the other things really, so. But one thing I'll point out about Mega Flare, right, is the skill, is the skill. We'll go through the skill entirely as we normally do. So, alternate Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle, that your Vanguard with Riser and its card name attacked. By paying Counterblast 2 and resting this unit, stand both this unit and that unit. Oh boy, I got a lot of cool ones here, so. So, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with this skill. Because the point of this, right, is to get the Riser unit that attacked to restand again, and the reason why it says rest this unit and restand both those units is because of the fact, right, they want you to do this skill before. They want you to do this skill before. So okay, talk about best subclan regalia. So yeah, we can go into tangent about best subclans in a little bit. So but yeah, so the point is, right, Mega Flare, right, it's supposed to be there, right, to be able to get a lot of attacks before he himself attacks. So so you want to get something that has a lot of high power off immediately. And one of those units, right, that comes to mind is definitely the one in this set, which is Dual Flare here. Because Dual Flare here's continuous skill is during your turn of Vanguard Circle. If you have no front row Vanguard Circle as stand, this unit gets plus 3k for each of your opponent's Vanguard screen. Meaning that this unit can get up to plus 9k. So it becomes 18k, or it can get plus 12k if your opponent is a grade 4. Meaning that you fight against Bermuda Triangle mostly. So, so it becomes 21k from that. So now, 18k, right? Combine this with this being in an XL circle, XL1, XL2. 18k, right, is already the magic number. Plus 5k, right, is 23. Plus 10k is 28. So this unit attacking for 28, right, and then it being able to attack again because you decide to counterblast 2 and then stand both of them together. That's actually another 28k that's actually coming your way. And yeah, you won't have a lot of counterblast to put over there. So, but we'll talk about that later. But the point is, right, that the first skill, right, is supposed to be supplementary towards having a lot of high powered attack in the get go. Meaning that this Riser deck with Mega Flare in it, right, it's not a front deck. It's not a front deck. This is a crit deck. This is actually a crit deck, so. Dual Flare, Superior plus Cat Butter combo. So we'll talk about the Cat Butter combo in a little bit. So. But my biggest problem is, at the end of the battle, that this unit attack, you have no front row regards at stand. Counterblast 1, choose a grade 2 with Riser in its card name from your soul and write it as stand. Then at the end of that turn, choose a grade 3 card with Riser in its card name from your soul and write it as rest. Do you guys know? Do you guys have any idea how much that narrows down to what specifically you would want to call? Now, let's just take a look at V Premium, just V Premium, because honestly speaking, right, Premium is also the same as all. Premium is also the same as all. So your choices are Burst Riser, High Power Riser Custom, and Ultimate Riser Dual Flare. Burst Riser, Rearguard skill, close. We don't need to talk about that card coming up. Ultimate Riser Dual Flare is brought upon is a continuous on Vanguard Rearguard Circle, so it gets plus 3k, meaning that this is actually 80k as a Vanguard that's attacking. And if we combine it with the Cat Butler as well, hang on, where's the Cat Butler? Let's bring up the Cat Butler. So we bring up the Cat Butler. At the end of the battle, that your Vanguard attack did not hit. By paying Soul Blast 1, retiring this unit, choose up to one of your Vanguards. This unit gets plus 3k until the end of the turn, and if that unit is a grade 2 or less Vanguard, you get to stand it. So the thing is, you don't have anything on stand, so you wouldn't have a very viable unit to actually attach it to, and that is with the grade 2. Now, the only reason why you could stand, excuse me, the only reason why you could stand a grade 2, right? The only reason why you could stand a grade 2, right, where they cannot hit is towards the end of the game. It makes sense, right? And Dual Flare, right, is actually 18k. It's actually 18k on its own. Dual Flare gets plus 18k on its own, average, across the board. It can attack twice. But the better option is actually High Power Riser Custom, because here's the thing. As long as you have Battleizer in the field, and this links to the next card that I'm going to be talking about. When placed, you may call a Battleizer from we're not looking at this one, we're looking at this, the second one over here. When this unit, when its attack hits the Vanguard, by paying Counter Blast 1 and putting a Battleizer from your Rearguard Circle to your Soul, stand one of your stand one of your other Rearguards. You want to stand the Rearguard Dual Flare here, and the thing is, right, High Power Riser Custom, right, will not hit, and so Cat Butler will go off. Cat Butler will go off. The only reason why you will play Cat Butler, right, is because High Power Riser Custom does not hit. And here's the thing, here's the thing. You do need to have Battleizer in there, and there is cards going through straight from there. But honestly speaking, right, if you want Cat Butler to work, right, your only option, right, to ride up from Mega Flare would actually be High Power Riser Custom, because it cannot hit. And so this thing will restand. And when it does hit, right, you can restand another unit, and this is something your opponent does not want to happen. You can move a Battleizer, Counter Blast 1, and move a Battleizer from your Rearguard Circle into your Soul. And you can stand this Dual Flare in the Rearguard Circle, in an Exile Circle rather, and have it hit 23, 25. Hell, it can hit into 30s right now. So, but the fact remains, it sounds like I'm singing praises, but the fact remains, your only option, right, for Mega Flare to change to grade 2 is if you go into either Dual Flare, if you only have this set, or if you play it further behind, High Power Riser Custom. And you would want to play, and you would be playing High Power Riser Custom because you will be playing Battle Riser, because you'll be playing Raptoria Riser. And I think this is where my rant really comes into play here. So, Raptoria Riser, when this unit is placed on the Vanguard Circle, choose a Battleizer from your Soul, and you may call it the Rearguard Circle. Fine, no problem. It allows you to actually get a Battleizer without having to actually ride up to High Power Riser Custom. But you want to ride up to High Power Riser Custom because you want to ride up to it also. But here's the kicker. Act on the Rearguard Circle. Act skill once per turn. Counter Blast 1 and put one of your Rearguards into the Soul. Search your deck for up to one card with Riser in its card name with grade +1 of the card that's put into the Soul. Grade +1 that put into the Soul for the cost. Call the Rearguard Circle and shuffle your deck. Now, when we talk about subclans, V subclans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you only make a deck full of Risers, and I've tried with Perfect Riser. I've really tried very hard with Perfect Riser. You can't make a decent deck out of it also, because you need specific other things that you want to go into it also. So you specifically want to play some of the other more useful Nova Grappler units like Kick Typhoon, like what are some of the other units that are prominent as well? Like Cool Hank as well. Like hell, like we take a look at the re-releases from there. So Like we take a look at releases from there. So Arashid, you get like some of the other cards that's in the set also. Some of the more viable, some of the more helpful cards in there. So those will be the only targets, right, for Raptoria Riser. And from then, right, those are mostly grade 2s or certain grade 1s. And then your grade 2s are actually kind of limited to Dual Flare, which you probably will call out with Raptoria Riser. Or you will call Maximum Riser out if it's a grade 2 that you will call out. Because Maximum Riser will probably be the most useful call out of it. So, but yes, essentially, like, when it comes to Risers, right, like, I look at this and I think that something's missing here. Something honestly is missing here. So, you forgot Refill Riser. Oh, Refill Riser is also Refilling Riser, yes. But Refilling Riser, your whole entire field is on rest by then. Your whole entire field is on rest by then. When this unit attacks, one of your other regards gets plus 3k at the turn. If next unit is at rest, it gets plus 5k. You swap to this, what's gonna stand? What will stand? Because technically speaking, right? Ultimate Riser, right? Dual Flare and Mega Flare, right? Will never be in a situation whereby they will have, once it swaps into Mega Riser, right? Once Mega Flare actually swaps to a grade 2, it's already too late. It's already too late. It's already too late to give a unit plus 5k because that unit might not, that unit actually might not stand. And you know, you wouldn't be attacked, and you want all units in the front row to be at rest in order for you to be able to take advantage of that. Hell, I think if you have no front row regards at stand, cost counter blast 1, choose a grade 2 for Riser. Nothing would be at stand there for you to be able to give the power to. So refilling Riser actually isn't of much help. So yeah. Essentially, hi Brian. Yes, they are doing the review for Raging Form Dragon as part of the live stream next week. So you probably want to tune into that. So Vowing Sword reaction, you missed it. You missed it, Brainer. So we talked about it quite a bit already. We already talked about Vowing Sword Dragon. So, but to briefly summarize, it's okay. It serves the purpose within the Eradicator, but the thing, the specific decks that needs the binding that it can do, Vowing Sword Dragon actually can't help it. So. Some of the other cards can, but not Vowing Sword Dragon. So yeah. But yeah. So I need another swing. Now I know I'm tapping into old news over here. So, but honestly speaking, right? Like objectively speaking, when I say all these things, right? Objectively speaking, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine on its own. You can make it work. But when it went from this to whatever we got with Glory Hand, I'm not gonna bring up Glory Hand. I'm not gonna give it the decency. To this, and then its V series counterpart as well. Then when it V series, right, it came out to be stand 2 of your rear guards. Honestly, right, if I were to get Mega Flare, right, I wouldn't pay Perfect Riser anymore. And that's a crying shame because Perfect Riser is my boy. It's literally my boy. I would stick with Mega Flare. I would stick solely to Mega Flare, right? Mega Flare and Maximum Riser. Those are the two that's only gonna ever be in the deck. I don't think I'll be able to find space for Perfect Riser. Not by a long shot. Because its skill is something that I don't want to ride up to. Its skill is something that I will not want to ride up to. So for me, you can make a stream talking about why Fortuna. So yeah, we got Fortuna skill already. So but yeah, Fortuna is good. I'll give my brief summary. Fortuna is actually really good, and I actually picked up Genesis actually. So I'm actually looking forward to actually playing with Fortuna. So you might see me actually playing Genesis on the channel for a little bit or so. Which is a partner for Vowing Descendant or Golem Buster. So from the Descendant more so than Gauntlet Buster, honestly. But Golem Buster can still make use of it. So yeah. Essentially, what happened is it went from this to a disappointing Glory Hand. No, to a I'm trying to find the words that's worse or so. But it went from that to whatever the hell Glory Hand is, to this, and then to this, which is generically Nova Grappler. Then it goes into Mega Flare. Like, a lot of things I feel is missing. So much is missing from it also. And that's just in V Premium. I want to talk about Premium, if I want to talk about Premium in general, right? I still don't have one thing. One thing did not happen, and it still bums me out. There is still no stripe with Riser in the name. There isn't. If there's a stripe with Riser in the name, right, I might be more psyched for Premium, but there isn't. So I'm only gonna be focusing more towards like V Premium, when I get Mega Flare in my hands. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I rather play with Gauntlet and Descendant together. So maybe we run more copies of both Gauntlet Descendant and a small amount of Vowing also. You probably would want, actually no, you probably want to balance out Gauntlet and Vowing, and then you mostly play Descendant. So you probably play like 4 copies, and then maybe 2-2 or maybe 3-3 of Vowing Sword Dragon and Gauntlet Buster. Just so that no matter which one you ride out to, whether it be Gauntlet or whether it be Descendant, whether it be Gauntlet or whether it be Vowing Sword, you'll be able to benefit from Descendant actually making use of both their abilities at any point in time. So yeah, time to play Ashura Kaiser. Ashura Kaiser's not in V, is it? Or was it? I can't remember. Yeah, it was in V. So. Yeah, Ashura Kaiser. It was in the same box. So what am I talking about? So, wasn't this part of the hero deck? It wasn't, right? It's not a hero, right? No, it's not a hero. So, when your draft check reveals a grade 2 stand, the reveal card is grade 3. Card plus 1 at the end, and that Riga gets plus 10k at the end of the turn. So, yeah, I mean, you still can. So you still can play Ashura Kaiser. 0 Mega Flare. Sometimes it's easy to beat them blouse. So, yeah. But for 0, I think that that one actually kind of warrants its own section of talk from there. So yeah, more Genesis gameplay on the channel, so I will sim that. So we'll try also because I did like Genesis, but not the I like the Revelation ability more so than most of what came out in V, especially the Valkyrion deck also. I found a whole box of Genesis cards that we had. That means we bought a whole playset of it. Or not say a whole playset. We bought we bought like a good amount, and so we actually got some triple R's in the set, and so I might try to build something with that plus with the Fortuna stuff and see what we can get from it. So I will be building a Genesis deck and see what I can do with Fortuna in play. So because I think it's gonna be going through for that. So. Using goals, I'm glad there's no Cat Butler in 0. So I mean, Cat Butler spoils a lot of things. So it's the main reason why I didn't want to play Cat Butler in the first place. So I can tell you that story if you guys want to hear it. So Ashura Kaiser plus Steel Guardian. Yeah, Ashura Kaiser plus Steel Guardian indeed. So Ashura Kaiser actually has a strike. Hang on, because I think that's the archetype. So Ashura Kaiser does have a strike. The strike is War Deity Ashura Kaiser. So War Deity Ashura Kaiser is actually not very significant, so not a lot of people actually talk about it. So, but once per turn, choose a grade 3 from your drop zone and put it to the top of your deck. Shuffle your deck, and at the end of the turn, this unit gets the skill Auto on the Vanguard circle. When this unit drive check reveals a grade 3, if you have a hard card with Ashura Kaiser in its card name, choose up to 4 of your regards and stand them. The idea is that, right, when you check your grade 3, you're supposed to stand your regards, and it's quite and you require the Ashura Kaiser heart in there. So probably what you would do, right, is that you write to Ashura Kaiser, you strike, you go into War Deity Ashura Kaiser, attack with whatever combination that you have thus far, and then after that you attack with him, check a grade 3 if you're able to, obviously. And then after that, if you do check a grade 3, everything stands again. Then if you can pull off the same combinations, you can absolutely 100% do so. So yeah, Ashura Kaiser was played in Heroes and more of his deck also. Yes, that's true also. Because that's why I thought he was a hero card also, but he wasn't. But yeah, he's essentially more known with the heroes. With the heroes more so than some of the other things. Since Perfect Riser, or rather the Perfect Riser specifically, was Kamui's original avatar, or rather his ace before Ashura Kaiser came into play. Ashura Kaiser only came into play, right, for the anime, but not in the manga. And since the MV series follows the manga more, so that's why Ashura Kaiser was the DSR in. Oh, sorry, not the DSR. It's the VR in that set, basically. So yeah. Brain, Go Paladin has already been released already. So it was released just almost 3 hours ago. So yeah. Yeah. So tomorrow's review is actually Pale Moon already. So yeah. The reason I say it was because I still kind of annoyed how Voiding Sword was. So I hope to dear God that Clarissa's ancestor comes in hot. So considering what Vowing Sword used to be, I think you feel much better with this one. So and actually, right, if you do play Vowing, I'm tempted. I might be tempted to do this in like CFA one day. I'm tempted, right, to actually make a Eradicator deck, a premium Eradicator deck, but with Vowing Saber Dragon, and then this Vowing Sword Dragon actually in play. I won't get a cross, right? But you know, I can get the binds from there. So actually no, that wouldn't work. So because a lot of the binds wouldn't actually make sense for striding anyway. So not unless I'm playing with Vanquisher some way somehow. So but yeah, or Thunderstrike in that regard. So oh, actually Thunderstrike. Oh no, but it's Eradicator. It wouldn't make all the sense in the world to do that. My brain is clocking up right now. Wait, Underhill Gardens. Yeah, the Hill Gardens are great tree. So. Okay, now that I buy the Genesis V collection, if Amaruda comes before August 2022, so I'll cry. So because I'll be playing for Tuna until August. So August. I actually, right, Kaio. I think that I think VK collection, or rather V Premium Boost, right, might be 6 months. So might be 6 months instead of like a year's worth. So I'm thinking that we might see something in March, if I'm not mistaken. So September, October, November, December. Yeah, in March. So sometime in March, I believe we might actually see another boost for VK collection, because I think a year between boosts for V Premium, right, might actually stagnate the thing quite too much. So I'm thinking that they probably will put it on a 6 months period. So so every 6 months we will get a new V Premium boost, I believe. So that's my take. So, and of course we do have the what you call it? We do have the autumn. We do have the autumn TCG strategy presentation happening in September 14. So we're definitely gonna get a slew of announcements over there for Cardfight Vanguard, and I think I will be tuning in. So I probably will be streaming live that day in order to be able to watch and see what we can expect from it. So you guys can absolutely 100% join me on Twitch for that. I might not host it on YouTube, because technically we're watching a YouTube video, so we probably will do it on Twitch, and so you guys can actually 100% join me on Twitch for that, and on the 14th when we do so. Mr. Invincible is dead. So Mr. Invincible has been dead since DBT02. Mr. Invincible is 100% dead. So nobody's gonna bring back Mr. Invincible, because he didn't even make that much of a mark. Not in the slightest. So yeah. Imagine your soul is exactly the same as your deck. So isn't that called Dark Irregulars? Isn't that Dark Irregulars? Right. So yeah, that goes over my rant. Like I said, objectively it's actually pretty good. So, and if anything, right, Ultimate Riser Mega Flare, right, if nothing else, it's an Excel circle generator. It's an Excel circle engine, basically. Excel engine. That's the term that I'm looking for. So as an Excel engine, right? It's actually superbly strong, because you do get a lot of draws that way. So you can actually supplement emptying your hand in that regard. But beyond that, right? It comes down to the player's skill and what they do with it. So, like that's it. So, Twist next weekend collection. So. 2 pack premiums and MV premiums. So. Indeed, so right. So that's all of the card reviews that I actually want to talk about. But there's one other topic that I actually want to talk about, and this is a bit more prevalent for Twitch rather than here. So, but I don't want to go through it. So, and that is actually Vanguard Zero. So yeah, I'm actually dedicating a bit of our discussion stream to actually talk about Vanguard Zero a little bit, because I do want to see the changes that's actually coming out. So, and take note, the update for Vanguard Zero, right, that's happening in September, does not come with the G era stuff. So G era stuff is actually being delayed to like October, if I'm not mistaken. But this one is actually an update, and I'm actually looking forward to this update because there's a lot of good stuff that's actually coming out from here. So Bushiro give us a Grade 2 Riser PR. They've done Risers dirty. They've done Risers dirty. What makes me think that they're gonna do Risers good? They tried to with Mega Flare, but it's not. Absolutely, it's not. So yeah. In the manga, Miwa's avatar was Miss Splendor. So, but Bushiro changed that because boy riding a girl is why last attack anime. Yeah, it was Miss Splendor at the time. So, but yeah, being weird, right? So they actually gave Miwa actually since he's Noble Grappler player, so they actually gave Miwa more, or they actually gave Miwa the hero's archetype. And so like cards like Spinning Variant and some of the other heroes that's in the set, right? It's actually Miwa's deck, and it's not it's actually not Kamui's deck. So, but yeah, so. And I've seen the image of Miwa riding into Miss Splendor. It's completely weird. It's very weird also. There's a lot of things that in the manga, right, that I think should stay in the manga. One of those things is definitely Miwa's avatar being Miss Splendor. The second, obviously, is the whole you take damage, right? You actually feel physical damage, because I think that one's a little macabre for it to be in a card game. So it not say card game per se. I know I'm Yu-Gi-Oh! That's one example. But yeah, I mean, something like that is a little macabre. So I think that's why they didn't choose to adapt that over, because I think it's a little bit too grim for it. So far, Neo Nectar is maybe really happy more than the other reviews, to be honest. So Murakumo aggravated me. Kagero is solid, and Narukami is making me scratch my head crazy. So don't go bald from that. So boy riding a girl, phrasing, yeah, pretty much. Alright, so I actually want to talk about Vanguard Zero a little bit also, because this is more prevalent. If you guys do not know, right, I actually host Vanguard Zero Sundays over on Twitch. So we actually have a dedicated day where we actually play some Vanguard Zero. And so you guys can actually join me on Twitch, right, and then you can just join me and just play some Vanguard Zero with me. Or you can watch me play and you know, just have a chat. It's another avenue that we have on our platforms that allows us to talk about Vanguard. And so Vanguard Zero Sundays is actually one of those platforms also. So you can actually continue to talk about Vanguard, the card game, Overdress, anything from there in that time period. So usually it's from the afternoon from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. No, not 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a 4-hour stream because I do play both English and Japanese. So I'll give them both some equal playtime, basically. So do be sure to join me over there. So, bye, Edric. Thanks for stopping by. So, meanwhile, Giga Chat still have its V sleeve also. Are you going to match between Lyrical and Tokyo Rambo? That depends on whether if we get the cards first also. That depends on whether we get the cards. But anyways, I want to talk about the Zero updates here. Essentially, this is basically letting us know that these are the aces that's going to be there since they were the protagonists basically. And it's mentioned here, the second image shows off brand new arts for Tri-Tree's ace units that will have a special way of being obtained that we'll find out soon enough. The third image basically is Card Capital 2 basically. So we won't be in Card Capital 1, we'll be Card Capital 2 when it goes over, or I think if we switch over to a G-era character, I think we will move over to Card Capital 2 in that regard. So the fourth image, which is basically this. Yeah. So what it says here is that the fourth image shows us, right, and tells us about changes to how the gacha will work. Going forward, starting with the first G set for Zero, they are adopting the dueling system in which each card will have a set amount that can be put per box, and each rarity has its own set amount. And if you feel like resetting the box, you can just press the reset button. Resetting just resets every card, all the cards in the box. Every pull does not get removed. So yeah. If that doesn't really help, then think of it as opening packs in real life. So if you buy 4 packs from a brand new box, each box has 4 triple Rs, and you get those triple Rs, and these are the ones you wanted from your packs, then you will go to open the new box. So since there's no point in opening the other one. Yeah, so basically right now each banner will now work in a way whereby you can actually pull for specific GRs and triple Rs basically. There's gonna be certain amounts in the set, and when you've exhausted them, right, and you don't want to pull anymore, you can actually reset the box, similar to what Duel Links kind of has also. So yeah, pretty much let's go for that. The whole page can switch to Card Capital 1 by the way. So yeah, you can do that also. Then of course the fifth image, it also says here, another thing to note is that every G set, right, will be using brand new Vanguard G tickets, while the current gacha tickets are being renamed to Vanguard tickets. So they can be used on every set from. So any tickets that you actually get. Why is this song still in here? God damn it. Oh, because I select local files. Bleh. Sorry about that. Let me switch it up. There we go. Right. So, so basically, right, if you're doing the story, basically, right, and then you basically get tickets, the gacha tickets, those are going to be Vanguard tickets. And Vanguard G tickets, right, are going to be their own ones. So the tickets that you're getting, say you're starting fresh, you will be pulling on the Vanguard banners, basically, from Q4 to Neo Messiah. And yeah, you have G tickets, right? They actually be using for the current gacha tickets for G. So basically the first set, second set, third set, so on and so forth from there. So what else? The fifth image is the introduction of the universal mats. Now this is the one thing that I've been looking forward to very much. And it's actually basically universal mats also. So instead, so we can actually file for universal mats, and they actually can be transformed into specific materials that you might that you would need for specific clans also. So yeah, the Unimats was short. Going forward, any duplicates you pull or cards you disenchant will turn into Unimats instead of mats for whatever clan that card would belong to, and you can use those Unimats into whatever clan, mat, and rarity of your choice. The rarity is just speculation. We don't know full picture yet. So basically, right, we can actually now with the universal mats, right, the universal mats, right, are the ones that we're getting from disenchanting cards. And then after that, we can use those mats, right, to actually convert into anything specific that we need. And this is one thing that I've been wanting for Vanguard Zero, because it's a bit tiresome, right? It's a bit tiresome, right, for me to keep on farming, right, and to keep on farming, right, and then basically I want these new cards that I'm getting for Shadow Paladin, that I've been getting for Shadow Paladin. I've got these surplus cards. But then, you know, I need it for Narukami, and so if I'm not pulling for Narukami, right, that means I'm not getting materials for it. With this in play, right, meaning that no matter what I pull, right, and if I get access of it, they get turned into universal mats. Those universal mats, right, I can channel them into Narukami materials, and then I can get the specific Narukami cards that I want to get for that, so, which will make it a lot more easier, so. Which will make this a lot more easier to do. So yeah, that's one of the things I've been looking forward to for it. And I think it should happen earlier, but at least it's happening right now, so I'm glad that's a thing. And of course, there's actually the sixth image that we're seeing here is showing off the new clan gachas. How this will work is that every clan, pre-G, no gears yet, is getting their own gacha that contains every single card from that clan that was released from Team Q4 up to Neo Messiah, and it's mentioned above we use the current Vanguard packs also. So now, with this in play, right, we can pull every card that was ever released in those sets. Instead of going for the specific banner, we can now go straight for the specific clans. So if you're looking for Narukami, especially if you're a new player and you want specifically Narukami cards also, you can now get a whole bunch of it. You can basically now just pull on the banner that just has that specifically. Have Kagero cards basically, and then you can just pull for Kagero cards. Keep on pulling for Kagero cards until you get what you're looking for, or until you run out. And yeah, this is much needed. So especially with the way that things are, I was hoping Legion would have something like this, but turns out you had to wait until G for it to happen. So, but it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. From there, so, and of course the rest of the images is basically just the events happening that's going on to celebrate it. So September is actually going to be a very happening month, and I hope you guys will actually join me for Vanguard Zero Sundays on Twitch actually. So you can find the links in the description box below for our Twitch channel, and just join us every Sunday and just have a chat with us about Vanguard Zero in general, and so on and so forth. So yeah. I'm looking forward to this happening on 1st October. On 1st September. 1st October is when the G units will actually all drop, which is something I've been looking forward to. Another thing I'm looking forward to is replacing my character at the front of the store from Asaka to Luna. That's even better. I never noticed that part. So yeah, I had to search up this news, and I read it beforehand. So, but when I read it, I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of good. I already know there's a lot of good stuff happening, and I know that Different Fight Chris has actually done a video on it already. But honestly speaking, like, all this stuff is like finally coming to Vanguard Zero, and I feel that Vanguard Zero, right, might be more worthwhile to play. And if anybody is skeptical, or if anybody's on the fence about playing Vanguard Zero, I think once the update happens, right, I think it will be a good time for new players to actually jump into Vanguard Zero. And so with this also actually coming in, I think November, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be coming to to English in November. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, not just in September for Japanese, but then we can also do it again in November as well. So looking forward to just playing some more Vanguard Zero. So once the update finally drops also. So yeah. You know that G starts in October, right? So I feel sorry for DF if you didn't read the fine print. Yeah, the fine print right over there. Right over there. It literally says right there. So the 1st September, right, is not the what you call it? It's not the clans coming, it's just the update that's coming. The update will not have the cards. It says right here, so yeah, I feel bad for DOVA-SYNDROME hearing that. So, but yeah, he got a huge kick out of that. So he got a huge kick out of that moment. But yeah, so yeah, but no, I know that it's starting in October. But I'm looking forward to the update that's coming here, because technically speaking, right, I feel that especially as new as my account is, right, I definitely want to divert my resources, right, into pulling for specific clans rather than on the specific banner. Like, even if the pool is there, I don't necessarily want to build like Go Paladin. I don't necessarily want to build other stuff. So if I want specifically to focus on just that, right, just focus on the specific thing, right, then I probably would want the to pull on the banner, especially if it's a new clan that I don't have anything of. Like, say, oh, you know, I suddenly got this stuff for Angel Feather. Now I need to get all the other Angel Feather stuff. I can now pull specifically on Angel Feather stuff instead of just the banners where they are, and then, you know, do multiple pulls on the different banners, because I need specific things from here and there. So I worry that the most of G units and their mats also, it's gonna be the same as the booster, and that's probably one of the things that I'm not looking forward to, because the strikes are definitely gonna be locked behind GRs for sure. But with the system being the way that it is, right, meaning that it's a dueling system, the system being for what it is, right, like, you can just get the GR. You basically can just get whatever GR that you're looking for, and you want to get 4 copies of it. If you put that specific GR or the triple R that you're looking for, immediately, right, you can just reset the box, and then you can pull again. So you won't have to pull anymore. You won't have to pull anything redundant anymore. You just need to pull specifically for you just need to you can just pull specifically for that one card. Then when you get that one card already, right, you can reset the banner, then pull again and look for that card again. So it's a little saving on the mats, it's saving for resources in a way, but at the same time also it also saves up quite a bit in terms of you having to empty out the box and then just pulling also, or have it be an infinite like nothing really. So in fact, right, I would say that the main reason why we looked the main reason why, right, in the initial days of Vanguard Zero, right, we looked unfavorably towards Vanguard Zero was because, for me specifically, is because I hated the gacha system. The gacha system for the cards, right, honestly was super archaic. It's so old school. It's so old school because you basically, in order to pull that specific card that you need, right, your chances are literally below 1%. And there are so many games out there, right, that actually has a pity system in a way, and Vanguard Zero was released in a time, right, when the pity system was actually close by, and the fact that Vanguard Zero never, or rather it was existed already. There's already certain games that already had pity systems in place already. One game that I like to play a lot, and I tend to bring up from time to time, Dissidia Opera Omnia. Dissidia Opera Omnia, right, you get a pity system. You have a pity system in place, right. It didn't start out with at first, but later on it got it. Vanguard Zero never got it until they changed the system to this right now. If you pull a certain amount of times with the gems, right, then after that you can actually exchange the points that you picked up because you put on those because you put using gems, right, and then you can actually trade it in for the specific item that you're looking for. Vanguard Zero didn't have that, so you can literally spend thousands of packs. You can literally spend thousands, as you see with different fights, you know, on certain streams. You can literally spend almost 1,000 packs, and you'll never be able to have all. You never will be able to have 4 copies of everything. You won't ever be able to have 4 copies of everything because of how the system works. Because of how the system, because of how the gacha system works, and it's what I like to call arcade. Because the only time that I've ever seen games like that actually have something like those odds, right, are those very old gacha games that they used to be around back in the day. I can't remember specifically because I think I wasn't paying attention to gacha all that much. until much recently when it's a thing. But I do remember like doing polls and such, and then you know like, oh, I only have 1% chance of actually getting it. There's no way to actually guarantee that you can actually get that specific thing that you're looking for. And we hate shard systems. I specifically hate the shard system that the West came out. The West actually came out with the shard. I don't know if it's the West, but somebody came out with the shard system whereby, oh, you can actually pull for the particular character. You actually pull character, or you can actually pull for shards of that particular character. So if you gain certain shards, right, if you have enough of those, right, you can actually trade in for the character. Isn't that neat? And I'm like, no, because that's a literal waste of my time. And yeah, and those kind of systems is really like down-putting, and I think it should be going the way of the dodo also. And for Vanguard Zero, right, especially for the cards, and with the GI and everything all coming into play, right, for them to actually go ahead and change the system into this box system, right, makes it a lot more comfortable for me to actually go and look for 4 copies of what I need. In this case, the first box that will come out will probably be Chorus Command Dragon. So if I decided, you know what, I'll play Gear Chronicle. I'm actually gonna go look for I'm gonna go look for Chronojet Dragon, and I'm gonna go look for Chronos Command. And once I hit Chronos Command already, and I've hit like Chronojet Dragon, I can just reset the box and then continue my pulls from there. So yeah. So man, all this talk gacha system way too much of Fubiki and Susei is very bad addiction. Well, yeah, so I mean, we part of some of the card discussions that me, Leon, and Nems used to have, we used to complain a lot about gacha. And not because we're not getting shit, it's because of how the system works as well. We talk about it less and less because later on games started adapting the gacha system, so it's a lot more better now in most current games that have a gacha system. But regardless, like, there are certain games like that, like Vanguard Zero, that still has this arcade gacha system in place. And now to see September, they're going to change it, and eventually in November in English, they're going to change it. I look forward. I honestly can't help but look forward to it. So, absolutely, 100%. Can't wait. So, can't wait. So yeah. I think I'm tucked out. I think I've talked as much as possible. As much as I possibly can about all the topics that I wanted to talk about today. So I thank you to everybody that has joined me thus far. Like, you know, if it wasn't a topic that's relevant to you, even if it's a topic relevant to you, if you stuck around, I appreciate you guys sticking around and just like being part of the conversation. Because you being here is also part of the conversation, but you guys can also like chime in and let me know what you guys think about the things that I'm saying. Because this is a discussion stream after all. It's not necessarily me, Leon, Dempster, whoever that we have on for the discussion stream, but also you guys as well. Because you guys are part of the discussion as much as possible. Like this could be somebody's podcast. I can imagine this could be somebody's podcast in a way as well. And there are times whereby I actually do want to convert this discussion stream into a podcast of sorts. But I think it's way too messy, and I think I ramble on way too much for it to actually be turned into a podcast in some way or another. But yeah, evidently speaking, is like we do want to do like more other varied stuff here. So and just allow us to have like these discussion streams reach many different platforms, even if it's as a podcast as well. But looking into it, right, I do wonder if it's viable to do so, to convert these discussion streams to a podcast format. If it's possible to do so, I might look into it. If you guys want that to actually be a thing, do let me know. And do let us know in the comments below. Let us know what kind of content you guys want to see from us. So highly much appreciated. And if you guys are a member, of course, you guys can actually request some videos. For one video that was requested to us directly by one of our subscribers, we kind of put a pause to it because of certain aspects of it, but we will try to do that video even if it's past V-Clan collection. I think that we might actually do we will do that video still, because I do like the concept of actually talking about older cards and how they're different from the V-Clan collection era, and yeah, so on and so forth from there. So like, just let us know what you guys want to do. And if you guys want to have the ability to be able to request certain videos from us, so you can support us directly, and our support and your support, right, will actually allow you to be able to request certain videos from us. So if you guys have an idea that you guys want us to do, absolutely, you can let us know. If you're a subscriber, you can definitely be sure that we will do our best to get that suggestion out as best as possible. Right, so yeah, we'll be closing the end of the stream right now. But of course, I'll leave the stream on for a few minutes longer. If you guys want to get in any last minute comments, any questions that you guys want to me to talk about or to answer, yeah, just put it in the chat also, so that we can get those in before we end the stream. But once again, thank you everybody that has joined me thus far. Do follow us on all of our socials. We're on Facebook, on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We have a Discord as well. So I'm currently on Discord. If you want to find me off stream, like say if something came out and you want to find me off stream to talk about it, absolutely 100%. You can just go to our Discord, which you see over here, and you can actually add me. You can talk to me from there in the many different channels over here. And yeah, you guys can absolutely find me through that. So, right. Beyond that, yeah. So, any other last things that you guys want me to talk about? Because one thing that I do want to talk about is definitely the 5 videos and where they have gone, because it's been a significant amount of time that we haven't actually had them. Again, there's a very good reason why that is the case, and I will highlight it as best as possible in some way, some fashion. But I can tell you guys that the 5 video is actually halfway done. So I can have it up as soon as possible. So, but there's a reason why it took as long as it did. But the only reason why that is the case, right, is because of the fact that this fight isn't like any other fight that we've done before. And there's a lot of things that came to light from this fight video that we've done also, and it's something that I never want to have addressed when the fight video comes out or before any like whenever that's happening. But yeah, but you can expect a fight video from us as soon as possible. So I will try to make sure that I get it done so that you guys can get content from us. Not just the recap videos, not just the streams as well, but the reason why it's been streams and the quick caps, right, is because those has been easier to do. Because they're quick and easy to do, and streaming is a lot more easier because I can just spend the time instead of like editing the videos, right. I can actually spend time actually just talking with you guys and just playing whatever it is on the screen, whether it be Vanguard 0 or whether it be Great Ace Attorney, whether it be any other things that we play on Twitch or here in CVGS for that matter. But yeah, so essentially speaking, with whatchamacallit, with in terms of 5 videos, right, in terms of more content from us, right, like I appreciate your patience on that, but hopefully you guys can look forward to stuff from us here at CVGS. So continued stuff here at CVGS. My bottle is not closing and that's distracting me, so alright, that's because this shouldn't be there, this should be here. There we go. Alright, there we go. Right. Alright, so with nothing else further, thank you guys again for joining me so much for that. And do I have anything else I want to add on? Normally I pass it to my guests or whoever's here, but yeah, no. Alright, so with all that said, thank you guys again for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.